right, y'all, last time we did one of these Q&A videos, we did a live, which was a format I did not love, but I very much like the content, so I figured, okay, let's just do our normal video format. Hi, I'm Annie, I'm a frequent traveler, and I run the account Average Girl Does Cool Things. And this is our monthly update video. I'm gonna talk about travel news, what's going on in Average Girl, and I'm gonna take questions from all of you. So let's get into it. Okay, my friends, it is July, which means it is summer travel season. So get to the airport early, pack your patience, download your airline's app. I cannot stress this enough. If there are travel delays, if there's issues with your flights, your best recourse is to go through your airline's app, because there's going to be long wait times on the phone, there's going to be long lines at the counter. So before you go, make sure that you download that app, you sign in, you link your flight so that you have all the up-to-the-minute details. And then just please remember that flight delays are a part of life. They're a part of traveling. The gate agents are doing their best, and everybody is just generally pissy. I often feel like flying is this group project where we all just gotta get it together and do what we gotta do. Don't be the person who ruins the group project, okay? I don't wanna see you arrested because you gave the flight attendant flack about something. Don't do that. Don't end up on a viral video. Just go with the flow, be polite, say please and thank you, and we'll all get through this together. Now, as for what's going on with Average Girl, I gotta tell you y'all, I am tired. I had this crazy idea. My birthday was June 10th, my 40th birthday. And I decided that I wanted to finish seeing all 50 states before my birthday. So I had 7 to go. So for the past 6 to 8 weeks, I was running around trying to see all 7 states. I was taking all of these weekend trips, which was amazing, but it was exhausting. And so my last leg, I flew to Chicago, met up with a friend. We drove to Michigan, went hiking, we went wine tasting. Then I flew down to New Orleans and I went and drove out to Mississippi to hit the last state, which was not as exciting. Sorry, Mississippi. And then I flew from New Orleans to Houston because I had some work to do. So I worked a lot. I worked several days in Houston from a job, because y'all know I have an actual job, right? And then I flew up to Bozeman, Montana and met up with some of my best girlfriends, and we had a Wild West weekend to celebrate my 40th birthday in Yellowstone National Park, which was amazing. And quite honestly, you're really not gonna get to see much, if any of it at all. Because by that time, I was so tired. It was the last thing I wanna do is film this birthday weekend that I'm spending with my friends. I've got this video coming up where I'm gonna talk about what travel influencers don't tell you. And I think this was one of the things that I've been realizing and struggling with is how do you capture your adventures? How do you share what you've learned and not ruin the experience for yourself? Because this ends up being very much work. So there's gotta be a balance where you don't see some of the things that I'm doing because I want to enjoy them and I pay for them out of pocket. In fact, hopefully by the time that you are watching this, I'm going to be in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, enjoying myself with friends, also not filming that trip. You gotta balance all of this work with some actual R&R. So you're gonna see a couple of videos that are pre-scheduled coming out in the upcoming weekends. Hopefully you enjoy them and we keep this process rolling. Also, by the way, if you haven't watched my TSA video, go do that. I'm running a contest. It's super fun. We play a game called Does It TSA or Not? I want you to comment in the comments how many that you got correct, and then I'm gonna pick one winner to send a prize to. So make sure that you go do that because I'm gonna do that by the end of July. Okay, that's my July update. Now let's get into your questions. Okay, first question, I'm gonna read this so I get it right. That Bollinger Girl, great username. They ask, do you have a video or tips on food in Egypt? I will be going next year and have only heard negative things about food. Thanks. You're welcome. Okay, food in Egypt. I didn't talk a lot about food in my video about Egypt. It was unmemorable. Yeah, it was unmemorable. I mean, it wasn't bad. I wouldn't say it's horrible, but it's particular, right? You get sort of a Middle Eastern flavor. So there was a lot of almost tapas style. They'd bring out flatbreads and hummus and tabbouleh, couscous, things like that. A lot of meat on skewers. Had a lot of that too. And it was just kind of all very similar. And the sweets, you didn't get your usual cookies and ice cream. It was like cakes that are soaked in honey. So like I said, the food wasn't particularly memorable, but it wasn't bad. I wasn't hungry the whole time I was there. It just wasn't something I would I wouldn't go there for the food, right? The only thing I will say was bad was the coffee, which was such a bummer because I was expecting better with the coffee. In fact, if I ever went back, I'd probably bring my own pour-overs, disposable pour-overs for the room, because the coffee was just kind of weak. Unless you got a Turkish coffee, which was mud. So it's like weak or mud. Take your pick. Okay, second question from Elizabeth. Elizabeth said, I'm going gorilla trekking in Uganda in December. Yay! I'm so jealous. I'm anxious about how hard the hike in Uganda is to see gorillas. What did you do to prepare for the trek? Okay, so let me preface this by saying that I live in Southern California where like fitness is way of life. So I do go to a gym regularly. I do CrossFit style workouts. So I will do CrossFit twice a week. I'll do weightlifting twice a week. And then I try to go do like Pilates or hike or something else. So I'm already like quite active and would have probably had a fine time handling the gorilla trekking. Let me contrast that with my mom, who's also very active and she walks a lot, she does her Peloton, but she was very nervous about the actual like stability on the trails, right? Because you're walking on uneven ground and oftentimes muddy and slippery ground. So she would go hike every weekend and she would actually hike like these quite steep stairs and things like that in order to prepare. I will say, since you are trekking, you're gonna be hiking, I would suggest that you get ready for the trip by hiking somewhat regularly. Probably start like at least 3 to 4 months out, just going for like a gentle hike on the weekends and then build up to maybe like a 3, 4, 5 mile trek towards the end, which is totally doable. And remember, you're not doing this like for time. You're gonna be taking like a fairly gentle stroll. Like people took a long time. Our Golden Monkeys trek, we were out there from, 7 or 8 in the morning until like 4 in the afternoon. It was a long day because we hiked like 7 miles. So build up your hiking. If you don't have hiking easily accessible, I would say go walking, walk hills for sure, practice uneven or steep terrains, like practice your balance. That's really gonna help. And also like if you have a stair stepper or like a stair climber, that would also be a great way to help condition your body. And absolutely make sure that you hire a porter to help you. The porter is gonna help with carrying your bag. They're gonna help you cross some of the terrain. I will say it was kind of embarrassing sometimes where like I would have a difficult time crossing a section and the porter was just like do 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 do. So the porters can be super, super helpful to you. Make sure that you hire one, bring cash. I think in Uganda it was $15, but if it says in my video, I can't remember if it's $15 or $20, but bring cash to give to your porter. And have so much fun. God, that's such a good adventure. Oh, I'm so jealous. I would go back in a heartbeat for sure. Okay. The next question is from Okay What 123. What's up? Okay What? They said, great video. I love the Q&A. Thank you. I have a question, kind of lol. Can you talk about which planes to avoid with all the planes crashing and stuff scary? Okay, let's talk about this. This scares people. I think when it comes to air travel, there are not so much planes to avoid because you can't really like choose what plane you're gonna go on. The airlines just pick, like they book it. So you can't be like, I'm gonna fly on that particular aircraft. But there are places that you can avoid. So for example, going to the Middle East, like you notice that most airlines diverted around almost the entire Middle Eastern area when Iran and Israel were flying at each other. Yeah, probably not a great time to fly to areas in the Middle East. And at the same time, flying through Newark is probably also not a great idea. They were in the news because they've had problems with air traffic control staffing. They had a couple of close calls where air traffic controllers actually had to like take stress leave because it was so scary, and they remain like understaffed, so that's not great. Although honestly, I'm not worried about Newark so much from a safety perspective as I am from like a airplane flight delay perspective. But a lot of people are just avoiding going through Newark. And did you know the most dangerous airport in the world is in Nepal, the Tenzing Hillary Airport? It is the gateway to Mount Everest. The weather is unpredictable. It is highly mountainous, and it has a very short runway. So like that is probably not an airport that I'm gonna fly into. I'm gonna skip that one. Here's the thing about when you see all of these like airplane mishaps in the news. We tend to suffer from this like frequency bias, or they call it like a frequency illusion, which just means that things like 1 or 2 things happen and then it feels like there's a lot going on. You gotta remember, like news sites, they make their money by getting eyeballs on their things, right? And plane mishaps are something that people are gonna tune into. So it will seem like there's a lot happening when really, if you put it in perspective, in the grand scheme of things, like there's actually not. The Reagan Airport disaster, that tragedy that happened, that was the first major fatality incident in the United States in 16 years in the aviation industry. 16 years we went without having a major fatality incident. So like your odds for having a safe flight are astronomically good, right? There's lots of safety checks and controls. No airline ever wants to have a fatality, obvious for many Rooney reasons. And then if you want to get really statistical with it, you are far more safer taking a flight than you are driving in a car. Your odds of dying in a plane crash are 1 in 13.7 million. Your odds of dying in a car crash are like 1 in 100, which is kind of terrifying, to be honest. But there's a lot more safety checks in place for flying than there are for driving. Now, what's really scary about aviation is that you are not in control, right? You're in control of your car. If you're driving, you are not in control of the plane. And not only are you not in control, but like you're not familiar with what it takes to operate or fly a plane. You are with a car, so you know what's going on there, but you're not so much with an airplane. So I do find it helpful to learn something about aviation, and there are some amazing accounts on Instagram right now, people who are aircraft mechanics and pilots who will teach you about sort of weird little things that you think might be scary but are actually very normal. One of my favorites is Airplane Facts with Max. He is an aircraft mechanic and he will explain things like, you know, why does it look like there's mist coming out of the vents in the airplane, but he's also obsessed with Lord of the Rings, so then he ties it together and it's really, really funny. And then Bryce Pete the pilot and Flyman Simon, both pilots who do a great job of explaining like what do the dings mean, what does that weird little noise mean, so that can help you feel a lot more comfortable when you're flying. And finally, I also recommend these flight deck cards. These are Fear of Flying flashcards. Say that 3 times fast. But they will walk you through like all the things that are happening in your flight and let you know that like this thing that seems weird is actually totally normal. I'm not sponsored by them. I don't get any sort of kickback from that or anything, but I'm gonna put the link in my description so you can check those out. I think it's a really helpful resource if you are a nervous flyer. Okay, last thing we gotta talk about, my friends, are luggage scales. Because y'all came for me in the comments on my Amazon video. Let me know that you believe in luggage scales. And that's, look, it's fine. It's fine. I'm still not a luggage scale believer, but I get it. Many of you made the point that if you are flying a budget European airline, you're probably gonna need a luggage scale to make sure that you're not overweight and you don't get charged extra for your bag. Okay, fine. That's cool. I still don't pack that much to be over the weight limit, so no luggage scale. For me, I'm gonna stick with that. Also, if you haven't noticed, I am not a budget traveler. There are many people who have great budget travel sites here on YouTube. That is not my focus. I'm more focused on tips and tricks around travel and to make you feel more comfortable traveling. So, you know, in the fight about luggage scales, I'm sticking to my guns. But you do you. If it makes you feel more comfortable, you get that luggage scale. If you want to see how I get away with packing a carry-on only and don't need that luggage scale, you can go watch this video next, to which Cosmopolitan Nancy said, "Give us something new." I'm not going to do that because those tips work. So sorry. Oh, YouTube, you are fun. So fun. Just how I want to spend my day. Give us something new. Anyway, and if you've got questions for August's video, leave them down below and I will do my best to answer. Until next time, go create a life you love. Bye.